race, ethnicity, and other labels intersect to create unique dynamics, both empowering and or oppressive. I'm so much more than just a Black gay man. I'm Isaac, I'm adopted, I'm an artist, a geek, a brother, and even a kayaker. These things are all badges on my satchel self. They make me who I am. And because of this, I experience the world and also discrimination in a way that is different from other queer people, including other gay men, period.
Huh. I guess I don't really think about the word that much. I'm just an intersectional person. I'm Taiwanese American, queer, non-binary, gay. It's important to understand the different ways power and marginalization can exist when you hold different identities.
Cool.
Yeah.
So now to get into our youth panel, and just starting off with our first section, could everyone just go around and introduce themselves with their name, pronoun, role with It Gets Better, and what's your biggest dream or aspiration?
I can start. Hi, everyone. My name is Jay Legaspi. My pronouns are he, she, they. My role at It Gets Better, I actually am based in Surrey, BC. So British Columbia, it's on the West Coast. And I am a part of It Gets Better Canada's Youth Advisory Committee. So I'm one of the many few from coast to coast to coast from Canada who take part in a lovely committee who does work that is truly amazing and inspiring. So I'm really, really excited to be on the panel. But I wanted to answer the last question. What is one of your biggest dreams or aspirations? I think one of the biggest, of my dreams, aspirations would be to start my own queer youth mental health, I guess, nonprofit, but I think I'd cater it towards a more creative front and thinking about how queer youth navigate mental health system, but also how they can go ahead and go into creative arts, whether it be dance, singing, acting, whatever it may be, finding their art, but also really knowing that getting their own mental health help and self-care things from just being creative and being out there and just having fun. So that's kind of my big dream. Obviously not happening anytime soon, but 1000% in the future. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go next. Hi, my name is Jeremy. I use any pronouns, and my role with It Gets Better is that I'm one of the many youth voices, a part of the It Gets Better organization. Specifically, we deal with issues in the United States. And one of my biggest dreams or aspirations, I think that's a really hard answer to give in the limited time I have, but I think to just give a general answer, my biggest dream would just to have an impact in seeing LGBTQ plus inclusive future for queer youth. And my biggest dream would be to be a part of that movement somehow. And I would just love to see that happen. But yeah, Diego?
Yeah, it's my turn. Hi guys, how are you? Well, my name is Diego Mau, and my pronouns he, him, they too. I'm from Mexico City, and my role in It Gets Better, I'm a member of the student council in It Gets Better Mexico. What is my one of my biggest dream? I think I wanna work in an NGO about, human rights, or even an international organization um, about human rights, but focus on LGBTQ plus community. I think I love it, and done, and that's all.
No, sounds great. Great to meet everyone on this panel. And just to get started off with the first question, what inspired you to join It Gets Better and to become an advocate for LGBTQ plus youth in your country? So I'll take the first question just because I just want to talk about it. So I was first inspired to join It Gets Better after volunteering at a local organization within my city. So that organization is Tony's Place, which is a drop-in center for LGBTQ plus unhoused queer youth. So after when I first joined in, it was a very serendipitous moment just because they had first gained their permanent physical location. So I was just able to be there, be present when the organization was like, when it's had its first physical location, like first permanent physical location, where everything is very like up in the air on like the direction of the organization and what they want to accomplish. So I was just volunteer there. It was during the summer, so I was in a very like special place where I didn't have like a job I had to go through, so I could volunteer there during the day, and I was able to help members gain access to the clothing closet, gain access to food, and also just being there and playing games with them, and just listening to their stories and being in community with a lot of the local queer population. And after this experience, I really wanted to sort of elevate their stories and elevate the issues in my local community to the national level. And because I was mostly in community with local LGBTQ plus people, I had like a hunger to speak to, be in community with, talk to LGBTQ plus youth nationally and around the country. And it was very, again, like serendipitous that Tony's Place had reposted a post by It Gets Better about the Youth Voices program. So I just applied, and the rest is history. But I would say what really inspired me was that feeling in need for community at the national level when I had it at the local level, but also just to have a chance to have any kind of like national impact, because a lot of my work was mostly local, but I really wanted to have that impact nationally, but also like know about the local issues happening nationally, like happening across the country, because I think It Gets Better and the Youth Voices program specifically is a very unique opportunity in which I'm able to be in community with people from around the country, from different states that I've literally never been to, but it feels like I've been there just because of the ways that I've listened to everyone's stories of my fellow youth voices. So what really motivated me, what really compelled me to join It Gets Better was just that desire to be in community with other people and just to know what they care about, learn more about what's going on around the country as well. But yeah. Now into our next question. Does anyone want to answer? Can you share a defining moment that made you realize the importance of your advocacy work?
I'm gonna take this question. Well, uh, as you tell, Jeremy, I think my local, well, I have more impact in my local stage. In my case, in my university, I could um, do a lot of things with help of NGOs like It Gets Better Mexico and so on. And one moment that made me realize the importance of what I'm doing, it's I don't know, I the last Pride I think, um, I was painting a crosswalk in front of important avenue in Mexico City, and I saw just a mother and with her child and walking around that, and her child have has uh, questioned her mother why what we are doing. So as Simplify and his mother say, they're just painting a crosswalk with the LGBTQ plus flag, and it's completely normal if you are part of the LGBTQ plus. If you can love whatever you want, and you can express yourself like you really want. And I don't know. I think I listened that, and I started a little crying because I, I love I will love maintain all these good vibes, and even more people are informed about everything, about the LGBTQ plus rights, about even just letting people be who really are, and we don't have to be expert of the in academics or yeah in the way that we can apport or improve our goals in the LGBTQ movement. And I think, well, that is one more important and impact moment that makes me realize that I'm sure and I'm gonna continue all that I can do in support my university, in support my friends, in support my family, in support NGOs, and that's all I think.
No, yeah, thank you so much. That's incredibly impactful work just to be involved in a project where you're visibly expressing your identity. So yeah, thank you so much for that. On to the next question. So, who has been a key influence in your journey as a young LGBTQ plus person, a leader?
I can take this one on. Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, Diego, for your input. Honestly, y'all, it's nice to be just in a room with y'all, in a virtual room with y'all to talk about all these different things, and kind of inspired me to answer this question in a unique way. So, yeah, the question like, who has been a key influence in your journey as a young LGBTQ plus leader? Um, as interesting as it is to say, I want to say myself, like, it's really, really crazy how much I've been through and like how far I've come with my own advocacy work, but with just being able to push forward and to strive for more, strive to love more, strive to be more. And I think being able to influence yourself and inspire yourself to take on bigger, riskier, but more life changing things. It's scary, but I think it really pushes me to be everything that I've always aspired to be. And when I was a kid, I always like thought I was gonna be like famous. Like I always wanted to be like a pop star or like some kind of like, I don't know, celebrity. But I realized that like I think in my own mind I just wanted to be seen, and to be able to see yourself, to be able to like really, really see yourself is something so beautiful and so innate in us. Like I think it's something that once we realize that like we see ourselves, we see our truth, our hurt, our love for ourselves and others, we see that we can do so many amazing things. And yeah, really touching on like I guess everything that I am is okay and I'm okay. And really striving for that mission of it does get better, and really pushing that narrative, and understanding that like even in my own life, like I carry the pen. I'm not having anyone else write my story. This is me and no one can change that. Is something that I've been carrying with me for a while. And even though I'm 25, like I literally feel like I just became an adult. I don't even feel like an adult. Still feel like a kid. COVID kind of just like stripped away 3 years. So I mean, like maybe I'm like 22 or something like that. But in terms of just seeing how I'm influencing myself and my own journey as a 2S LGBTQ plus leader, I really am pushing myself to lengths that I've never thought I'd be able to do. And I think that's something that really gets me up in the morning and gets me on this call today. So yeah, that is my answer.
No, I mean, that was so well spoken. I mean, like, I would argue you are a celebrity. You are a star. I mean, you're on here. You have the audience, you have the reach. But yeah, no, I definitely would. No, I would affirm a lot of what you said. But yeah, I love the way you put it.
Thank you. I shouldn't say stop. I should just say yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that comment, Jeremy. I take it to heart. And you are both stars in my eyes too. We're all on this panel. It's not just me. We're on this panel too. But I think I'm actually leading the second part of today, and we're going into different things, interesting things, challenges, identity, and advocacy. And so the first question I have is, what is the biggest challenge LGBTQ plus youth face in your region, and how are you addressing it? Does anyone want to answer?
Yeah, so I'll take this one just because I think I have a lot to say, unfortunately. So My region, I'm currently in college in a different place right now, but I was in Texas, and obviously there have been a lot of challenges that face LGBTQ plus youth, restrictions on gender affirming care, bathroom bills, and just like a general rise in transphobia and homophobia, both online and administratively. Like I won't name any platforms, but we definitely do see a rise in that hate, which is incredibly unfortunate. But coming from Texas in the United States and coming from the South in general, book bans have been a really hot topic. So my school district was like colloquially known as like a book ban district, even though we comparatively had it better than other districts in the city, which is like incredibly like shocking and eye opening. And I just think it's really unfortunate that these book bans are happening, where bans on books ranging that include people that belong to like minoritized communities like LGBTQ plus youth and like BIPOC communities. It's just really unfortunate to see, because a lot of young people find role models within the media they consume, and a lot of that is within the library, where books are free, where they're more accessible. So it's just really sad to see that, because I'm thinking about the books that I read when I was younger, and one that comes to mind is a drama by Raina Telgemeier, which is like a comic book about just like a girl who like joins a theater program, and there's like a single frame where there is a gay kiss, and that book has been removed from like a lot of bookshelves ranging from elementary, middle school, and high school, which is incredibly unfortunate to see, just because that's even being restricted at the high school level, where it's just incredibly sad to see, because young people right now who are growing up, becoming themselves, trying to find their authentic selves, aren't able to find themselves within the media that they consume, that aren't able to find those role models within the libraries, which is incredibly unfortunate. And I think this has led to a snowballing effect, to where there's just a general attitude of just like transphobia and homophobia, both in the schools specifically. So like after the book ban started in my school district specifically, pride flags became banned, just because they were deemed to be too political. But does that mean like being someone being themselves is political? I would just say that they're just being themselves. Why are you banning any form of self-expression? So in response to that, I really pushed to establish third spaces where LGBTQ plus youth could be themselves. So I connected It Gets Better and Mac with Tony's Place to host a LGBTQ plus homecoming, where queer youth from around the city of Houston will be able to just go to the queer homecoming without any cost, where they'll be able to be themselves, receive free makeup to have self-expression, free mums and garters, and just a place where they can be free, where they can be with loved ones, or where they can be with friends, and just be themselves, right? Just because a lot of those spaces are being shut down, unfortunately, within just across the country. So yeah, so that's just something that I've been trying to establish, those third spaces outside of the politics of like school boards, outside the politics of like state politics, and just create those third spaces where people can find refuge to resist against the hate that they've been experiencing.
Honestly, Jeremy, my mind, it cannot wrap around how many different things happen in every other place in the world, and the fact that you've been able to like have this superpower to create space for folks who don't have space catered to them, offered to them, or even like acknowledged for them. Like that is a unique superpower. So I really want to like highlight that, because not many people can do that, have the ability, access, knowledge, care, love to put that into existence. So I want to like affirm you for that, because takes a lot of work and guts to do it. So you're amazing. You're doing that work. You're doing it. You're doing what you can with what you have, and it matters. However big that space may be, I think it does mean a lot. Even though you're doing all the work, and you can be really clouded with all the different things that come with organizing, I just want to make sure you know that you're changing lives just doing the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I do want to say though, like I didn't do that on my own. Like without the folks at It Gets Better, without the generosity of Mac, without the generosity, capacity, and just like wherewithal of the folks at Tony's Place to even host this. Like I'm just a connector. I'm just like a bridge builder, I would say. But I would say the majority of the work is being done by the fantastic folks at like all these organizations. So like I just want to remind everyone watching this, it's like you don't have to do it alone. you don't have to do all this alone. Just try to connect people together that are passionate about the issues that you're passionate about, and then things will fall into place. But yeah, thank you so much for the compliments.
Period.
Mm.
Anytime, anytime. And so, going into our next question, how does your queer identity shape your approach to advocacy and activism? And I think I have a little something to say about this, so do you mind if I can take it all on? I'll just lock in here. So how does my own queer identity shape my own approach to advocacy and activism? So, in my experience growing up, I wasn't able to really be my true authentic self that I am today. I was raised in a very conservative household and a conservative Catholic household, to be specific. So I was in Catholic school ever since kindergarten all the way to grade 12. And so a lot of my life has been really interesting. That's a word. And so really thinking about how I was able to navigate having access to resources, having access to just other queer folks, having access to like resources for myself, like to just get help. Like it was hard after high school, being exposed to so many different people in university and really finding different parts of myself and growing with myself. And so my own queer identity, I identify as non-binary, but I also identify as queer. I also identify as neurodivergent, as fat, as Filipino. There's a lot of different things. But in terms of my own queer identity, it's something very, I think, imperfectly perfect about finding parts about yourself. Because once I was able to tap into little things about, I love doing my nails. I love putting on makeup sometimes. I love putting on a nice dress and some stiletto heels, even though they hurt. I love it. And I think what I've learned about taking these steps and discovering parts of myself is that was its own advocacy work within my body. My body was tapping into that performative allyship with myself, telling myself that like you shouldn't have to be behind bars and not tap into beautiful things that can make you feel so much joy and so much love. Like why are you depriving yourself of this? And how are we depriving youth? How are we depriving our friends, family members who want to tap into different things like that, who feel that they're scared, who feel that they're not safe? And I want to preface that, again, depending on your circumstances, wherever you are, it may not be safe to be able to open up and be who you are. But that's how we access different things like supports, different things like your friends, your family members, community members who you might reach out to. And so starting with myself and realizing taking steps of uncomfortability is taking steps into like life, taking steps into seeing the reality that I am living, just trying to just be me, but also celebrate me, also just have faith in me and strive for the best me that I can be. And so learning more about other people and different identities and intersections and how we're able to support equity deserving groups, it's important for me as a mental health advocate, a queer youth mental health advocate, to acknowledge my own privilege and power. I'm not Black, I'm not Indigenous, I'm not trans. But I know my own identities. And I know that there are different things and barriers that I have. But knowing that there are other folks who have different things that I will never, different barriers that I will never understand, as an advocate, as a social agent of change, I want to make sure I do my part, however small and however big, to make an impact within my community. But yeah, I wanted to preface that, and I think I hit the mark with that one. So thanks, Jay. Good job, Jay. I'm my own cheerleader, but I really want to move it on to the next question here. Can one of you share an example of a project or initiative where your personal experiences informed your work?
This is my question, but after give my answer, Jay, I wanna hug you. The last answer was beautiful. I wanna hug you, and I think each of you inspire me every day, and meet people like you guys inspire me every day to be always there and know that everything that I doing it's okay and everything I doing it's gonna be a change in a long time or in a medium time. I hope so. Well, the last this question. Um, I think easy. Well, in I'm actually um, a student, and in my university, I think I a lot of things in related to uh, my personal experience with any project, and my personal experience about gender. I think well, my perspective in all in all things that I have to research, that I have to read, that I have to script an essay. I think I always try to link it gender perspective and my way of activist uh, in any project in my life, and it I think it's gonna work. And my example, my last event in my university was impressionant, was basically share my personal experience and uh, make a group with people like we shared certain experience and explain how we feel and explain what we can do. And yeah, in order to resolve some problems so important like mental health, like the way that you express yourself, um, communication. In fact, I mean, my in my case, I think everything. Well, not just in my case. I think everything is gonna link with gender. And if you don't feel like good with your gender expressive, with gender identity, with your gender sex orientation, uh, you're not gonna be possibility to give us your 100% or even more. So yeah, I think everything gonna link with the gender and in my experience is always functional. Have tried to link it in the academics, in the activists, with my mother. Yeah, just that. And that is my question. That was my answer. And if anyone have to say something, I think we can pass with the last stage of the panel. It's about hopes and future vision. It's one of my big interesting stage of this panel because it's about the future and talk about all the future is always interesting. It's always uncertainly. So the first question to this stage will is what positive change would you like to see for the LGBTQ plus youth in the next few years? Is I'll take this question.
Yeah, I'll take it. Um, I have a lot, but I think that's a good thing. So one thing that I would like to see, at least for the queer youth in my country, and also just internationally, just because this is a global issue, but just for LGBTQ plus youth to stop being used as political pawns by like certain groups, um, and then stop using them as scapegoats for issues that are manufactured and are not real. So I think to counter that, I would really love to see more LGBTQ plus youth, but just youth in general, just being engaged in local advocacy and testimony, telling their stories in a variety of ways, and specifically at like school board meetings, local legislative sessions, state legislative sessions, where a lot of these policies are coming down. But I would just love to see them tell their stories, just because it's so easy to just look at something and not know that people are actually being affected by it, right? But like if we bring the person out and bring the person into the picture on who's being affected, then I think that would be an incredibly compelling way to just stop the hate that's been going on, right? Um, I think I just want more youth to just be involved in telling their story, just being more comfortable. If they're able to be, if they're able to tell their story, just tell their story and just know how policies are being affected by them. And I would just love to see community engagement among like allies of LGBTQ plus youth, LGBTQ plus adults, LGBTQ plus youth themselves, just within local organizations or just within local advocacy organizations, grassroots organizations, all of the organizations, and just try to get involved in enacting change within their local community, state community, and like national community, right? I would just love to see more youth being represented and running the organizations that are trying to help them to enact change. And then this is more USA like specific and country specific, but I would just love to see the Equality Act getting passed, which is a piece of legislation that's been introduced and unfortunately has been dying off. But it's a piece of legislation that would add sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity protections to certain sections of the Civil Rights Act to codify anti-discrimination law within the legal like code within the United States, right? I think that would help like codify that to make sure that following administrations don't overturn any protections that currently exist, and just codify that in order to make sure that discrimination against LGBTQ plus people doesn't happen anymore. But in order for that to happen, I would encourage everyone to go vote. And this is going to be my spiel about voting. So I would encourage everyone watching this this Twitch stream, if you can, if you live in the United States, go vote. A lot of LGBTQ plus youth can't vote, either due to immigration status like me, or because of age, right? We are youth, we can't vote. So I would really just encourage everyone to ensure to amplify our voices at the ballot box and just vote to make sure it gets better for LGBTQ plus youth. Vote so it gets better for our future. Vote so it gets better for all of us, right? Go do your research. And in order to check if you're registered to vote or to register to vote, go to vote.gov and you'll be able to get specific information on the state you live in, any voter registration deadlines, any mail-in ballots, things you need to get before you vote. But I would just really encourage everyone to vote in local races, state races, national races, vote like in every single situation that you can, because a lot of this legislation can only get passed if we vote in people who support it. So just vote for LGBTQ plus youth, especially with this upcoming election. But yeah, do your research.
Claps for you, Jeremy. Really. Yeah, I think, well, one of the parts of you said was that youth have to be more take have to take more spaces, and I'm completely agree with that. I think, uh, yeah, we have a lot of to do, we have a lot of to say, and this kind of link with the next question. The next question is if you could accomplish one big goal for this LGBTQ plus movement, what would it be? I'm gonna take this question, sorry, Jay, but I think LGBTQ plus movement have a lot of goals, but I think the activist of the LGBTQ plus community is not just a love is love, and I think everyone knows that. Uh, it's more than that. No. Um, I think if I can accomplish just one big goal, uh, I decide um, I decide be try to the all people pass don't don't be a victim of discrimination. Don't be a victim of a lack of access to our rights, human rights. Just like walking around uh, in the streets, yeah, just have a possibility to make a change in the government or even out the government. In my region, in specific Mexico, it's a big problem when uh, LGBTQ personalities and in the government encourage their voice and loud and make or try to make decisions trying to make changes in our places for voting, for just go out for everything. It's warning when a person is taking loud uh, and confront the government and confront the criminal organizations maybe. Um, and I think this is a big goal in Mexico. Try to, yeah, defend, in fact, uh, the the politics and try to defend our rights. And yeah, the Mexico's constitution says that we don't have discrimination, but in the practice, it says a lot of lack of criminals. Um, yeah, I don't know. I I feel a little bit bad talking about these important things about this region, how the violence is discrimination, but um, yeah, recognize the human rights and give the opportunity to access just human rights to LGBTQ people. It's so important, and it is one of my goals, and it's my dream. Try to um, stop discrimination and violence in this region, uh, and that's all. The next question and the last one is what advice would you give to other young people who want to start their own advocacy journey?
I
Who do
can
you want
take
to take
this
this?
one.
Yeah, come
Thank you.
on, Jay.
Don't worry. Thank you. And thank you, Jeremy. Thank you both for honestly being so freaking cool. Like I cannot emphasize like how cool, how inspiring, how amazing y'all both are. Like it is like sparking something in me, but I hope it's really kicking in with everyone else that's tuning in today. Um, these are two amazing human beings beside me. I'm in the middle of the call, I think, yes. And just being a part of this is really, really just making my heart jump. So, jumping into this last question, what advice would you give to other people, other young people who want to start their advocacy journey? Big question. One thing I want to start with, I read this book. It was called The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. Amazing, amazing author, an amazing advocate for so many different things. But one thing that I learned from her book was our innate enoughness. I'll elaborate. So, our innate enoughness relates to when we're born. As a baby, we're not telling ourselves that, oh, I hate my little chubby little arms and legs, or like, oh, I hate how I just drool all over the place. I hate how I'm basically bald. Like, you don't hear a kid talking about the little things about them that I honestly love, and I hope a lot of people do as well. But in terms of really acknowledging that when a baby is born, it's enough. It doesn't have to strive to be anything. It just is, and what it is beautiful. What it is love. What it is enough. And the word enough has hit me in so many different ways growing up. And I'm still trying to this day to really acknowledge what it means to be enough. And so thinking about how hard it is to just say that I am enough. Growing up, I could not look at myself in the mirror without crying. I didn't know who I was looking at. I would always be scared to understand. I would always be too scared to see who I'm truly looking at. And I never acknowledged my innate enoughness. And I tried to find it in so many different things, so many different people who unfortunately hurt me. And so growing up and witnessing life's beauties, but also realizing that when people tell you that you are so kind, you are so loving, you are so loved, to take it to heart. To acknowledge that the person that you see in your mirror is loved, it is difficult. I can tell you from my own experience, it is hard to look at that person in the mirror and be like, that person is so loved. And to say to that person in the mirror that you love them. And my own experience and my growth with myself in my bathroom mirror, as hard as it was, it put me in this position where I am today, to be able to speak on behalf of queer youth in Canada, but like to be able to speak on my own story and to highlight that who I am, what I do, what I stand for is enough. And that no one can tell me that I am not enough. Because I know what I've been through. I know the lengths I've gone to prove to myself that I am worth it, that I am so loved by my friends, by my family. And that person in the mirror, as tough as our relationship has been in the past few years, I know that that person loves me. And I know that I'm trying each day to look at that person in the eyes and to not feel any resentment, guilt, frustration, but to trust in that person and to trust that they're going to do the good thing that they need to do in order to better themselves, better the community around them. And I guess wrapping it up, the advice that I would give to young people who want to start on their amazing advocacy journey is to start with that person in the mirror. That person in the mirror is the first person you're going to advocate for. If you cannot advocate for that person in the mirror, you need to start. However it may look like, you can start by just taking yourself out on dates, go to the movies, get yourself some ice cream, go for a walk, whatever it may be, whatever makes that person smile, do it. Because that is where advocacy starts, with you. And once you start doing that, you're going to start seeing the building blocks, seeing the foundation build, and you're going to start seeing yourself be more you than you can ever see yourself. And it's being authentic, it's being transparent, it's being vulnerable, and to really stepping in your truth that makes the biggest difference in your advocacy journey. So take that as you will. That as my own 2 cents, my 2 brain cells. I am trying and I'm getting through it. But yeah, I think that was the last question. So round of applause for our panelists for today, Jeremy, Diego, and myself. Round of applause, round of applause. I think, are there any questions? I don't know if there's questions, but I feel like we're at a good stage. Does anyone else want to say anything else? Diego, Jeremy?
I mean, I just want to say, like, oh my God, like that was so amazingly spoken.
Yeah.
Chills, honestly. But same with you, Diego. Like everything y'all have said, I've been like internalizing. I'm using those 2 brain cells that I have myself to like interpret what y'all are saying and absorbing it and really like preparing myself to self-actualize and like actualize what y'all are saying. Just because I just loved being in community with y'all, being in dialogue with y'all. So thank y'all so much for being here. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity. So shout out to It Gets Better, because I think everyone on this panel has proved that it does get better. And I just hope that the audience also got what I got from today.
Yeah. Well, I just want to have thanks for this interesting panel. I think mm, I'm so I I'm so nervous about this panel, but I think all the interventions was cute, was incredible, was even funny. So yeah, thanks for this panel, and it continues inspiring me. Nice to meet you. And yeah, that's all.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Audience, I hope y'all enjoyed this panel as much as I did. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.